Joining me for all the chat is Claire Pearsall, former Conservative Government Advisor. Thank you, as always, for joining us.
Thank you.
Now, I'm afraid you haven't had a chance to get much tuppence worth in after David Frost, and also after our guest from the Institute of Economic Affairs about energy drinks, and I want to get your thoughts on that definitely in this next section. But let's start with Graham Linehan, Father Ted creator, arrested at the airport as he arrived back in the country for a court case, interestingly, involving a trans activist and counterclaims and counterclaims. 5 armed police officers involved, and it was all over some posts on social media. And the posts on social media, well, I mean, again, I'm going to read them out again, because I think when we talk about these things, you know, often like you see something on the BBC or Sky or ITV, and they'll say, oh, for a racist post or a transphobic post. I always say, can you tell me what they actually said and let me make that decision? So he's been arrested and bailed. 3 posts on X. One of them is far back as April. So I'm not quite sure why it was such an urgent thing. But one of them was, if a trans-identified male is in a female-only space, he's committing a violent, abusive act. I mean, I agree with that. Make a scene, call the cops, and if all else fails, punch him in the balls. Now, is that an incitement to violence against trans people in toilets? I would say it's a bit of a joke about the fact that a man claiming to be a woman still almost and certainly will have his cojones, and therefore you could still do... I think that's a comedy writer making a funny point, personally. He also posted a picture of a trans right demonstration with the caption, "A photo you can smell." Not my kind of humour, but you seem to find it funny.
I do.
But again, that's just, you can make that joke about anyone, thank you. He followed that up with a post with a comment, "I hate them, misogynists and homophobes," and then F them. You're allowed to hate people. I believe that trans activists are misogynists. They hate women and women's rights, and they are homophobes because they basically support the mutilation and transing of young gay children, which is part of the trans ideology. So, yeah, I mean, I ain't got a problem with any of that. I'm sure most people wouldn't. Arrested by police. What do you make of that?
It's absolutely ridiculous that we have got to this state in this country. Freedom of speech is there, and it should be a fundamental right, and we've always been very proud of it in this country. You also have the right to be offended. You have the right to not agree with somebody. You have the right to move on with your life. Don't read something, don't look at something, don't interact with something.
I'm thinking of the stuff I get sent on social media most days.
Yeah.
I mean, particularly in relation to apparently being a genocidal baby killer. I have to break off from being a genocidal baby killer to do the show for 3 hours a day, but otherwise that's what I do in my part-time,
I think you need that on a mug, don't you? But there are worse things that are said out there. But why have we got to the state where somebody getting off an aeroplane for things he's written in April, as you just said, 5 armed police officers?
Yeah.
It can't be that urgent if it was done in April. He's coming back for a court case. He is a well-known individual. The police know where he's going to be.
It's a phone call. I don't even think you need to know. I mean, I say, you know, could those 5 police officers, could they perhaps have spent their time maybe tracking down my alleged bag snatcher who didn't appear in court for the umpteenth time?
Yeah. Be nice.
I don't know. Maybe he has been found. Yeah, I don't know. No one's bothered to tell me because the police are too busy arresting people for stuff on social media. Now, the Prime Minister's office, and they constantly say, we're not concerned about, police need to focus on our priorities, which is, real, neighbourhood policing, violent crime against women and girls, shoplifting, and stuff like that. But it's quite clear that that's not what the police are spending their time doing. They're spending if you have any time at all to arrest people for tweets, again, if Father Ted's creator, Graham Linehan, who's genuinely one of the sweetest men you could ever meet, he really is a nice guy, and I was messaging with him yesterday, he's really, his life has been devastated by him standing up for women on this issue, he personally and professionally and financially. If you've got time to arrest people like him, then you've got way too many resources and you are not under-resourced.
And the government's line on this is, we don't comment on operational matters. And it's like, well, yeah, you should, because if you believe the police need to be going out and solving actual crimes and dealing with actual criminals, you should be telling them to not bother 5 police officers who have the armed variety
They shouldn't
at an
comment on
airport.
individual cases, but again, we have the Prime Minister and Home Secretary very much, both publicly and privately, issuing a guidance to the police.
Exactly.
The Southport riots about priorities,
Yep.
and throw the book at these people and like, and to the judiciary. So let's all stop this abject nonsense that they don't have input on these things. But crucially, as David Frost pointed out, we have laws in the statute book that allow a lot of this. But then, the London, the police college, they've got this non-crime hate incident thing. Again, that's not in the statute books. They just kind of invented that, and they talk to people about that, and putting people into cells about that. I mean, we do not have freedom of speech in this country, wherever anyone complains. If you're not allowed to give your opinion, if you're not allowed to say you hate someone, now, if you are messaging someone you've either not met or met, either it's online or an ex of yours or something like that, saying I hate you every day, that's harassment.
Yeah.
That's a different law. But saying, I hate trans activists because they hate women and they hate gay people, which I believe is absolutely true, I think that's a perfectly fair thing for someone to say. And to limit someone's right to say who they hate, I don't even mind if someone wants to say, I hate women or I hate black people. I would rather we know they thought that, and then we can tackle them. We can either ignore them or we can tackle them. But unless they are saying, you should kill women or you should kill black people, you should, then you have a right to say these things, to think these things, to feel these things in a free country. Otherwise we are in Orwellian territory.
We absolutely are. And I think that's this mission creep of the government, and we've seen it over a number of years, and I'm not just pinning it on this government. I think the previous government also had a hand in this. Why can we not just get back to the point of, is it illegal? If it is, there are laws to deal with it. Are you offended by it? Okay, well, what's that going to do to you in your daily life? It isn't, is it? Brush yourself down, off you go, crack on with the next thing. I hate South Eastern Rail. I'll put that one out there because quite often my train is delayed.
Punch South Eastern Rail in the cojones.
When I get, do I go at an armed police escort when I leave the building today because of that?
Yeah.
You do wonder what it is we've let ourselves in for.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, people wringing their hands say, "Oh no, we didn't mean that." Well, yeah, but if you allow that law to happen, make it really clear. Tell the police you must not spend. These are taxpayers' resources. The truth is, the civil service, a lot of our politicians, on Tories and Labour and all that lot, judiciary and the senior figures in the police, and a lot of low-ranking police now who are hired on this basis, are utterly captured by trans activism, utterly captured by the DEI. White people are bad. What black people are oppressed, trans people are the most oppressed people in the world. I mean, they are captured by an ideology, and it needs to be absolutely expunged. Yes, in the most severe way.
It does,
and gone. And frankly, it's all over corporate HR life as well.
We spend a disproportionate amount of our time looking at a very small sector of society when women are being abused and raped. Gay men can't walk down the street now because they are accused of being in the trans brigade. Yeah. And I didn't believe that until a gay friend of mine told me that he feels persecuted because of it. So they're causing all of this problem, small people.
And again, it's activists, not people. If you want to live your life and change your name and wear whatever you want and use whatever pronouns you choose, you can't require me to use them. Live your life, be free. As KJK Rowling said, sleep with whoever will have you. Yes. But it's none of my business. I don't care. I'll defend your right to do any of that. But the activists are the issue, and a lot of it is very violent. And yes, it is motivated by a hatred of women. It's very, very obvious because they basically say it in the signs, But there we are. Look, let's come back to conversation I was having with guests just before the top of the hour about this call from Wes Street and the Health Secretary to change the law to have a ban on energy drinks being sold to under 16s, already in place in many supermarkets. Yes. Voluntary decision, you're over 20. You have to have ID to show you're over 25 virtually, don't you? To buy alcohol. I always love it when they say, "Can you prove you're over 25?" Oh, but look at my face. Yeah. I mean, yeah, of course I can. Look at the weariness in my face. But this is just the latest nanny status, a lot of people would say. But I don't want under 16-year-olds drinking energy drinks. You shouldn't be drinking, 3 cups of coffee either. Is this, though, an issue for the government to get involved? Is this an issue for parents? Who should be deciding this?
When it comes to children, it should be parents. Now,
But what about the parents who don't do their job?
But there is a basic law in place already. As you said, it's discretionary, but most shops...
It's not a law in place, it's voluntary.
No, well, most shops will not sell an energy drink to a 12-year-old, and I've seen it in my village.
No, but
and
corner shops will sell them to anybody, because it's perfectly legal for them to do so.
But then also parents need to be aware that the money they're giving their child, do they need to give them that cash to go to school?
I'm always fascinated by how much
they've got.
When I see the kids outside the chicken shops, their kids have got money to buy an extra meal after school.
How?
Oh, I mean, we just didn't have that money when I was a kid.
No, and most schools are cashless. So why are they roaming around with all the cash in their pockets? I'm a big fat hypocrite when it comes to caffeine, because I consume a lot of it. I am 80% caffeine at any given moment of the day. But energy drinks, do we need to start banning them? No, because what's next? And it is going to be the sugary drinks.
But we're not talking about banning them. We're saying they're not good for you, and therefore, and we do ban a lot of things for under. Well, I don't know when. I don't know why it's under 16s, not under 18s. No. But we ban a lot of things for sale: cigarettes, alcohol, vapes, and things like that, to under 18s, because it's not good for people.
Yeah.
Not good for growing bodies and growing minds. But I mean, again, if I was a teacher, I don't want to be teaching a kid who's just had an energy drink and is climbing the walls. You go to a kid's party and genuinely 3 minutes after the first biscuit or cake or sweets has been consumed, they all go mental.
They do. So does that mean that we need to start banning Smarties? Because I
wouldn't give my kids Smarties for breakfast. I've seen parents walking across the road on the way. I remember taking my daughter to school, primary school, and a parent walking their kid across the street, and I'm talking a primary school age kid with a can of Coke, and I've literally looked at that parent dagger, saying, "Do your job as a parent. You should be. I mean, you should be. You may as well give. Would you give your kid a cigarette? No. Well, then don't give your kid a can of Coke for breakfast. This is parenting 101. But this is the thing: parents don't all do their job. And a lot of parents don't know what their kids are doing. And the kids are often drinking this stuff late at night. And then they're not sleeping and they're on their games. But a lot of parents aren't in control of anything their kids do.
No, they're not. But also, I think with the energy drinks thing, the government are hiding this under, we're going to stop obesity by banning it. No, they're not.
But apparently these drinks, as our correspondent says,
Reem said,
they're not full of sugar.
They're not full of sugar. So you do sort of think, do you know why you're banning something, or do you just want to generally ban something? I'm not in favour
generally
of that.
like banning things. OK, where are you on the call today from the mother of murdered teenager Brianna Ghey? She has been calling for the government to introduce a ban on mobile phones in schools. Esther Ghey has got this phone-free education campaign. It's driven by her personal experience as a parent. Now, Brianna Ghey was a boy who identified as if he were a girl, but she had a son. This woman had a son, and he was stabbed to death by 2 15-year-olds. There was a part motivation of the fact that he was trans, but basically, 2 15-year-olds were 2 complete psycho nutters. Yeah. They had spent a lot of time on the dark web. Now, I would not wish this on any child or any mother of any child. It's the worst thing that could possibly happen. But the mother, Esther, and again, I'm genuinely of the view that I don't think you get good laws from grieving parents or grieving wives or husbands. I mean, even whether it's about a police officer's wife asking for tougher prison terms, whether it's about tackling what's going on social media because of a girl committing suicide, whether it's about a girl being a boy being murdered. I'm sorry to be clear about this. I just do think we should be clear that she had a son. Yeah. And it was her choice to recognise him as if he were indeed the girl he claimed to be, but he was a son. The mother says that basically her son, Brianna was spent all his time on his phone, was absolutely addicted to some really unpleasant stuff on the phone, but also the mother was on the television and the radio this morning talking about how her son was basically constantly getting in trouble at school for getting his phone out in the classroom. Now, here's my thing. You don't let your kid get addicted to social media and what's on the web. You remove the phone from your child. This was a very troubled child. Yeah. Being trans is by definition troubled. You're not born in the wrong body. This was affirmed by the mother. But again, you're into different situation. You know, would you or would you not do that in that situation? That's that family's decision, as far as I'm concerned. But if your kid is getting in trouble for using their phone in their school lessons, so getting in trouble at school, and you don't take your phone away from your kid, I'm thinking that's a parenting fail. Now, I don't want to have a dig at this mum. I'm talking about every parent in this scenario. You know, I wouldn't wish what happened on this mum on anyone in the world. It's the worst thing. I understand why she wants to campaign on this issue. I don't think that is issue. That said, I think that every school should ban mobile phones from the moment kids walk into school to the moment they leave at the end of the day. There's been no reason for a kid to get their mobile phone out. And if your child's school doesn't do this, and most schools don't, frankly, you need to talk to the head and a bit of parent power. It's absolutely absurd. Do you think it's the right decision for the government to call for this? And are these good reasons for this?
I think that schools need to come up with a solution that works for them, because each school is going to be different. I think the problems are going to be
nonsense,
different.
No, you're far too sensible to say this nonsense.
And the only reason I say
every school isn't different. No, you've either got kids who shouldn't be on mobile phones or not.
Okay, the only reason I say that is because there are a lot of the parts of education, the teachers require kids to be able to log into something.
Rubbish. You can have an iPad.
Until
they have
you
iPads.
Sort that out.
You can have a calculator. Rubbish. This is lazy teachers using that as an excuse. Lazy.
I didn't say that. I think largely this comes down to the parents. Because if your child is behaving badly because they're getting their phone out at school and they're spending all the hours God sends looking at social media, what are you doing about it?
Exactly.
Now, you've put that £1,000 piece of equipment into their hands. You're funding their Wi-Fi habit.
Parenting fail.
You need to be able to deal with that, and you need to be able to say no.
Who's paying for the phone? Exactly. And this is the thing I never understand. My daughter was left in no doubt very early on that if there were any issues, my go-to ultimate punishment would have been eBaying mobile phone for £1 in front of her. Because I am that. You have to be willing to out crazy your kids. No, but we were lucky. When I say we'll be lucky, we never had that issue. We don't sit there glued to our phones. You know, you don't have phones at the dinner table. You sit and talk on holiday. You play cards. You know, things.
Yeah.
But if your kid is getting addicted, you know, I remember years ago, long before everyone had smartphones, doing a radio show where I had mums going, "Oh, but I just simply can't get my kid off their computer games at home." You literally walk into the room, you unplug the computer, if necessary, get a pair of scissors, after it's unplugged, key point, cut the plug wire. You think your kid can wire a plug? Give me a break. You know, I mean, genuinely, it's like the idea, turn the electricity off. The idea that parents can't control this stuff is a nonsense.
And I had that when my son was younger, before he had a mobile phone. I took the power cord away from his games console.
Job done.
Because without that, you can't use it.
It's really...
It's quite simple.
This is parenting 101. That said, if parents aren't all going to do it and other kids are on their phones and that's interrupting class, then do we need the government to step in, make it easy? Again, if you're a head teacher and you can't enforce this rule in your school, I don't think you're a very good head teacher.
And most schools already do enforce this.
No, they don't. This is the interesting thing. They don't.
In Kent,
in lessons, they do, but not in school generally. Whereas actually,
I don't need them.
Why do you need your mobile phone in school?
Well, in case
you need it on. You might need it on the way to or from, and you know, but.
Are they waiting for the most important phone call to come in at 10
I don't know. You know what they need? They all need national ID cards. That's what they need. We're talking about that. I mean, again, that's the latest solution to every problem, isn't it?
Apparently so. It's not going to solve any problem whatsoever. I hate this conversation. Every time it comes up, I just think this is a creep from the government to take more and more control.
Absolutely.